What's your take on the whole Aaron Singerman release from prison that early? I mean, obviously, a lot of people are asking me what I think, and look, the only thing, you have to do something for the government to let you out of a 48-month or 54-month prison sentence. Now, originally, while he was in prison, they reduced him to 36 months. We don't know how. And then all of a sudden he gets released after 10 months. So what's going on? And if you had to speculate.
Yeah, well, and not only have I speculated, but I've also talked to a couple of different lawyers about it. And look, this is kind of hard to discuss because we know Aaron. I like Aaron.
I'm happy he's out for himself, because
of course. For him, as kids, especially, I'm glad, there's nothing better than for him to, get out. But the federal government does not cut a 5-year sentence without you doing something for them. And what is he going to do for them? He's not going to bake them cookies like Mr. G would. He's going to give up people. So work with them, be a confidential informant. He's going to, you cannot get a 5-year prison sentence cut off, not reduced, cut out. Done. You cannot do that without working for the feds. So is he going to set people up? Does he already have information on people that they want? There's one specific person in our industry that we know of that Aaron probably has a lot of information on that they would like to know. Is he agreed to that? I don't. He's agreed to something. What that is, we don't know. The thing's sealed, and especially that's another big clue. When all that information is sealed, it's sealed for a reason. It's sealed because it protects their informant. So, that's what he's doing. And it's not because he's a good guy. It's not because he belongs to the right synagogue. It's not any of that shit. It's because he's doing something for them. It's quid pro quo. We cut 5 years off your sentence. You give us somebody else to give those 5 years to, or 10 or 20. And that's the other thing. The feds only fish upstream. They don't care what Valentino would say Joey Matarazzi is doing on Staten Island. They don't give a fuck. They want to know who's bigger than him, who's selling more drugs or making more of the wrong shit. So the industry now has a pariah that they're going to have to contend with. And I think it's the dumbest thing in the world because this industry is tighter than any other industry on earth. Everybody knows everybody, and we all know what each other's doing. And if you have any doubt what you're doing, just go on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, and it's all there. So everybody knows everybody, and they all know what they're doing. I can't imagine Aaron being able now to get involved with a supplement company, a drug dealer, or whatever, and kind of work on a setup deal without them knowing that this guy's working for the feds. Everybody knows it.
Right.
And if it's not true, let's say it's not true. Let's say he got a pardon from the governor or some shit, Well,
that would be a different story. Then people would understand that he doesn't have to worry about anything. There's nothing to worry about.
Well, how'd you get the pardon?
Well, I mean, you could pay people off for pardons. You don't think that happens? We see billionaires getting pardoned all the time.
Absolutely. So I mean,
I would rather if him have done that, John, because who cares? I want to see him out of prison. I want him to be father to his kids. I mean,
absolutely.
I told him when he first went in, when I was talking to him, I said, you do whatever you got to do, because your kids need you,
Yes. Yes.
When I went to prison and you went to prison, we didn't have a family, so it was a lot easier to say, fuck it. I'm just going to do my time. I'm not going to say a fucking word, because I'm not a rat. But you know what? It's different when you have kids, young kids.
It is very, very different. And it's also the stigma, everybody's a gangster until they get caught. Oh, I'll never rat. They'll have to put, do this in time, pull my fingernails out, and I'll never be a rat.
Look at Sammy the Bull.
They throw 100 years in front of you. You start singing like a canary. They all do. Okay. The only one that didn't was John Gotti. He's the only one who didn't.
Well, he was a man. Yeah. He went to prison, even his son was upset that his son wanted to quit the business, so to speak. He thought that was a cop out,
Sammy the Bull freaking turned into a rat. I mean, he's the hardest gangster. He murdered 150 people, So, you just don't know. We don't know what the deal is. And you can never predict how somebody is going to react to this kind of life-changing, situation they find themselves in. There's really only a couple of possibilities that could have gotten rid of that 5 years: a cooperation deal, which is the most likely, or a pardon, which is possible.
We know it's not. We know it's not a pardon because we would have heard about a pardon. Who would have pardoned him? The governor or the president? There's no one else.
Either the governor. In this case, it would have to have been either the president
federal.
or Congress, because it's federal. So it would have to be.
We know he wasn't. We know he wasn't pardoned. That wasn't.
No.
Joe Biden didn't pardon Aaron.
Because it's a federal case.
Yeah.
So short of that, the only other possibility is that he's working for them.
Yeah. It's a tough situation because you have to put yourself in that situation and say, okay, I got 48 months or 54 months to do. Probably I'm going to wind up doing 48 of those months, which is 4 years of my life. I got young kids. Should I try to do something to get out of it? I don't know. It boils down to what your character is at that moment and how important it is. A lot of people have been asking me about Aaron's marriage, and you know what? I really don't want to comment on it because I don't know, and it's none of my fucking business, and it's none of your businesses out there either. That's between Aaron and his wife. So that's
there are certain facts about that are public, so you guys know exactly what we know, and there's no point in digging into that because it's irrelevant and it's personal. So you leave that out. But the what he did to get his this time cut off is going to be a matter of conjecture. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like the Liver King, It's like, of course we know you did steroids, and it's like, of course we know you ratted somebody out. I mean, it's so obvious,
Right.
So it's kind of funny. We're talking about these two people in the same show, in the same situation. It's like it's undeniable. It's just absolutely undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the pyramids in Egypt. You can't cut granite with a copper chisel. You can't do it. So these are the things that in life that come to us that you have to you got to okay, that's the way. And a lot of times, you got to put yourself in that position. You got 3 young boys. You may or may not have marital issues. You've got a contentious, at the best, a contentious relationship with their mom, and you want to do the best thing you can by the kids. And if you have that contentious relationship and you're locked up, all you're thinking about is those kids.
Right.
Who are they with? What are they doing? Who's influencing them? Is she bad-mouthing me? And that'd drive you freaking nuts. And in Aaron's case, because we know him, and we know about the availability of certain things in prison that you're not supposed to have, and we know his personality type and what his proclivities are, it would have been very possible, and we've talked about this, it would have been very possible for him to put himself in that drug program and then end up the mouse on the wheel. He'd never get out because he'd get frustrated, he'd get angry, he'd get excited, somebody give him pruno, heroin, marijuana, whatever is all available in prison. And he gets caught doing that, then the drug thing resets, he's back to zero. Next thing you know, 4 or 5 of those, it's 4 years is gone of your life,
Right.
So look, whatever he did, it's because he's got those kids, and you cannot hold that against them. I don't care how subscribed to the bro code you are or how hard Mac you think you are. You got 3 young kids who need you. You have an opportunity to be with them or not be with them. You're going to be with them, and it probably doesn't matter what you do.
I'm surprised they even gave him that offer. So he obviously must have been able to help them with something. Hopefully it's nothing related to our bodybuilding industry. Not that I want to see anyone go to jail, but I just hope it has nothing to do.
What else could it be? Counterfeit watches? I mean, what else is it going to be? I mean, this is the business he's in. These are the connections that he has. This is what he does. And like I said before, I'm baffled by the fact that the feds would look. Reducing your sentence is one thing. Eliminating it altogether is a whole other story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay? So you got to be doing something monumental for them to just let you out completely. So either he had something on somebody they wanted really bad, or he's able to do something to someone that they want really bad. And the only time will tell what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that he gets to see his children, and 10 months, it sounds like, he only did 10 months. That's a long time to not be around your kids. I get news to you. If I'm not around them for the weekend, I miss my kids. So
I had a situation early in my divorce where I didn't see Max for 4 months. Yeah. And that was, and it was 4 months when he was very young. And when I remember when he first saw me, he didn't know who I was.
Oh my God.
There is no worse feeling in the entire world than your own son not knowing who you are. Right. So and there's also no greater feeling of elation when he remembers. So you got that coming. But boy, young children, especially boys, they need their dad, and for their sake, for Aaron's sake too. I'm glad that he's out. I'm glad he doesn't have to do 5 years. I just hope that whatever he's got to do to pay for that release does not put himself in danger, because
his life in danger.
You rat out the wrong guy. That's
imagine if he lived in Mexico, that would be way more dangerous.
They wouldn't even wait. They'd shoot him the day he came home.
They're like that.
Fuck. They know. I mean, come on. You got to be an idiot not to know. Okay. How do you get rid of a 5-year sentence? I'm going to take somebody down. So boom, you get a bullet in the head. So that's what they get. They don't even wait. They don't wait 5 minutes. The second the door opens, boom, they're dead. Right. So
would you advise him, if you were advising him? I'm sure he's listening to this because he listens to everything. But
right.
Would you advise him to lay low and maybe not be the social media Aaron that he was before, and just kind of let this die down a little? Or would you recommend that he goes? I'm sure Aaron's going to go right back into doing what he does, social media wise, because that's what he get. That's his. That he really enjoys that, and that's his thing. What would you recommend?
If I were Aaron, I would find the smallest town in Idaho, dye my hair black, grow a beard, buy a farm, and never leave.
Well, from what you're telling me, that's not possible, because unless he did whatever he had to do already.
We don't know. See, that's the thing. We don't.
I just think he should. I think he should go back to running his company and just lay low. At this point, there's no reason to put yourself out there like, here I am, I'm back. Because you didn't really do your time and come back. You got out by a method that we're not really sure how you got out. Maybe you should just kind of be behind the scenes for a little while. That might be a better strategy.
I agree. I'm 100%. And the other thing is, bodybuilding is full of criminals and ex-cons. Right. So probably more than any other sport on the face of the earth, we got more. First of all, everybody who's competing is a criminal. Everyone, because you're buying
by
drugs,
definition.
they're all breaking the law.
By definition, yeah.
So everybody's got some streak of that, lawless attitude, and you think like a criminal, and you understand what criminals think, and it's a criminal mindset. Right. The criminal mindset on the very, very, very basic level is rats are no good. So if you get out of a 5-year prison sentence, regardless of why, because there is that criminal mindset prevalent in our industry, the knee-jerk reaction, and you read me an email just before, the knee-jerk reaction to anybody in our business, anyone, is going to be, he's a rat. Right. So, that's the payoff, the trade-off,
Should Aaron go to the Olympia or not?
Fuck no.
I would say no, but will he go? Absolutely. He will.
Aaron, he's going to put another billboard up on the freaking hotel. Look, you got to admire his.
He got out. He did get out, John. I don't know how he did it, but he got out. Yeah.
You got to admire that. You got to give it to him. He got out. We keep saying, especially for the kids' sake, he got out. But what he's going to do now that he's out, that's the game he's got to play smart.
Scary, yeah.
It's a little scary, because for the feds to give up, like I said, for the feds to give up a 5-year stretch on you, you got to give them something big, and it's got to be upstream. It's got to be somebody bigger than you. Mm-hmm. So whoever that may be connected enough to shut Aaron off. I would be very, very careful if I were him. I wouldn't make any noise. I would be quiet. I would sneak home, shut the door, run my company, not make any noise, not make any videos, posts, nothing. Be quiet. Let this whole thing go down the road. And, 5 years from now, he can come out and talk about it, do interviews or whatever. But right now,
he can do it 5 months from now would be better, but he won't make it 5 minutes because that's just not his personality. It's like
if he goes to the Olympia, he's out of his mind. Out of his mind.
Yeah. I would put my money on the fact that he's going to the Olympia.
I would, if he called me up and it said, John, give me your opinion. What should I do? I would say exactly what I told you. Yeah, smallest town in Idaho. Go. That's where you got to go.
No, you just said it before. He should stay home, do his thing, go into the office. He loves Redcon, do his business. He's doing a legitimate business. He's a great marketing guy, and just stay behind the scenes and don't make any noise. That's.
But but I think in his brand of genius, I think he's probably figuring out how to parlay this into more views, hits, eyeballs, money.
It's not going to be good hits. It's not going to be positive hits. There's nothing positive that can come of this, only because of the fact of how he got out.
Right. And we're going to hammer this point home because I don't want anybody supposing that I know anything or that I'm offending Aaron in any way. All I'm saying is that for the feds to cut off a 5-year sentence, they don't do that just because they like you. They do that because you're giving them something.
PJ Brun's still in prison doing his full time. So that answers your question right there, right?
Right there. Why not? Why Aaron and why not PJ? Same case.
Yep.
Same exact case.
Well, Liver King, thank you so much for doing that video. I watched the whole thing, and I very rarely watch videos to the end. And I got to say, brilliant. Brilliant.
It was human. It was human.
Honest. It was honest. It was refreshingly honest. Yes.
It was
honest.
Like,
I fucked up. He even said it. He's like, I fucked up. Yeah. I loved it.
I love it. I mean, he's for all all the kooks we have running around here. I'm telling you, this guy.
He's like, I fucked up. He didn't have to do that. He's got tons of money. He didn't have to do it. He said, I fucked up,
He could have found the smallest town in Idaho,
Yeah. And no one would have said a word because he didn't do anything illegal, Nope. He just lied. Yeah. That's all.
Right.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. John, I love talking to you, and I love discussing controversial topics with you, of course.
Same here.
Best wishes to Aaron. Enjoy your kids because I'm sure they missed you. Dave Palumbo with John Romano for another installment of RX Muscle News Update.